tonight. It's about 7:07. We have 2 hearings, and we'll open the hearing starting at 7:15, so we have 7 or 8 minutes before the meeting starts. We do have minutes from October, November, and December to look at, so we can do that now. And we probably have some bills to sign. Okay. I do need to make an announcement. Both Kathy and I are making audio recordings of the meeting, and to the best of my knowledge, the Lakeville cable, LakeCAM, which is in that office, is using those cameras, and probably the one up there, to make a video recording for our cable system.
You want to start with the October minutes first?
Yeah, let's get the October minutes out of the way. We have Weatherell, Fern Ave, I think, is coming up next month. I'm gonna see if I can remember to email the, I think his name is Norris, and remind him
Okay, because I have my phone to do it first.
to do what, email?
Yeah.
You email me, and I email. We'll both do it.
Because I actually checked that to see.
Right.
Is that a lie?
Well, as late as he comes in, he has to take it. Yeah,
Exactly. Thank you.
I make a motion to approve the October 17th minutes.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to accept the October 17th minutes. Any discussion? You want a few minutes to read the minutes? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Motion carries. Let's take a quick look, since we still have 3 or 4 minutes, let's look at the November minutes, please.
I make a motion to accept the November 21st minutes.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded to accept the November minutes. Any discussion? Eric?
I was not here in November.
So you can abstain.
I abstained.
I wasn't here either.
So Janice will abstain.
Oh, no, I was here for this one.
According to this, it says
No, I was here for this one. It was the next meeting I was
The
here.
next meeting.
Oh, yeah, I was here for this one. Sorry.
all in favor of approving the November minutes, please?
Aye.
Aye. And 1 abstention. Let's see. Do the December minutes.
Mhm.
Are you getting these minutes to Jan Tracy?
I'll make a motion to accept the December.
I have one question on the December minutes.
Mr. Urbanski has made a motion to accept. Let's,
I'll hold that until,
what's your question?
Was it Mr. Walter Clark of 9 Pine Bluff?
H-O-T-Z.
I don't know. I think it was Walter Clark.
Go back and listen to the recording and find out. You want to table the December minutes until we clarify that? That was somebody who spoke.
Right, but if we just want to check and make an addition, make a correction if necessary. But other than that, I'm fine with it.
I don't remember the man's name.
Excuse me, it's Hotz, Walter Hotz.
Arts and Gale.
You mentioned Nine Pine
You
Bluff.
said
that's
9
us.
Pine Bluff, that is us. So
right.
they have
I
a
remember the
number.
conversation. So we need to change, we need to revise the December minutes to, it's Walter Haas, not Walter Clark. You're not. We haven't
I was
changed
gonna say,
the name.
check this morning.
Those recorders not the clearest.
So we have a revision to the December minutes, and we have a motion to, would you like to withdraw your motion or to revise your motion to say, accept as amended?
I would revise it, except as amended.
Okay,
I'll
so
second.
Joe has made a motion, and Dave has seconded, and if we have any further discussion, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
So we'll revise our December minutes to get your name correct.
Thank you.
We have another 2 minutes. We have 2 hearings tonight. We have the Lakeville Christian Fellowship hearing and the Marzelli hearing, which will follow shortly after. Who's here representing Lakeville? Okay. At 7:15, I'll read aloud the public notice. The Lakeville Zoning Board of Appeals, acting in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 40A, as amended, will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, January 16th, 2014, at 7:15 p.m. in the Lakeville Public Library, 4 Precinct Street, upon a petition of Lakeville Christian Fellowship for a variance to allow a sign to be located closer than 30 feet from the side property lines. The property is located at 1 Windrush Hollow as provided by the bylaws. I think the issue you're facing is pretty clear. You only have a 50-foot wide section. The sign is placed in the middle, which means by definition it's 25 feet from each property, the side property lines. And the bylaw requires 30, I think.
That's exactly.
Okay. We have a memo, January 7th memo from Nate Darling. It says, I have reviewed the petition for variance at 1 Windrush Hollow. The sign is centered at 50-foot available street frontage, leaving approximately 25 feet on each side. 30 is required. Relief from section 6.6.3.1 will be needed in order to identify the Lakeville Christian Fellowship's location appropriately. I think he meant in order to locate it appropriately. I see no issue in granting the variance requested. We have a January 15th memo from the planning board. We advised the planning board meeting held on January 14th was unanimously voted to recommend approval. I have from the Conservation Commission, they said there's no issues with the sign. So what else do we need to know?
For me, nothing.
Do folks here understand the question and the issue?
There's nothing else they can do.
Well, I mean, you can take the sign down. I don't think that's the right thing to do. I think it's a small and it's a handsome sign.
I can provide you a picture of it.
I drove by it
Oh, did you? I figured you would.
several times.
And we have pictures.
Yes, we did. No, but it's a relatively small and it's a tasteful sign and it's well positioned. And I think they're faced with, they have a very large lot if you look at the map. How big is your?
It's 10 acres. 10.1 acres.
And how is it that we have this 50-foot little narrow spit of land coming up?
Long ago.
Oh, I know, I can see it in the map. How did that happen?
It's a long story. It happened when they did the Great Cedar development, however many years ago that was. This was lot 13. Being a Christian organization, we're not superstitious about lot 13. So we picked it up. And the way they provided frontage was on the the side street, which is Great Cedar.
I see it.
Yeah, and so that's really the driveway, but that's the only frontage to Howland Road, and that's how you come into the property.
I suppose we could be sticklers and insist that you move the sign of the driveway over the side where you have the frontage, but I certainly very well understand the value of having it right on.
Yeah, nobody would know what it was for over there, it's all trees.
Well, it might be an advantage in some cases. Do you folks have anything to offer or suggest or say or question? Anybody here wish to speak for or against this petition? We do have a minor, there's a minor technicality that sometimes gets in the way of variances. A variance technically for us in Lakeville, because of the way our variance bylaw is written, a variance is really supposed to be to provide relief for a physical deficiency in the land, such as ledge or a wetland or a drop-off or something wrong with the land. That's just, it's the wording on a bylaw. It's not particularly good. That's the way it's written. Technically, you really don't have that. You have a deficiency that occurred because of the engineering that went into the layout of all this property many years ago.
That's right.
But given the circumstances, I suppose one of our criteria is that it not be any more harmful than if we were to deny it. I for one can't see any harm in the sign whatsoever.
No.
All right, is there any discussion from anybody here on this sign petition?
Motion.
I'll entertain a motion.
Yeah, motion to allow the variance
Mr. Levitt
for the sign.
has made a motion to approve granting a variance for the sign.
Second.
And it has been seconded. Do we attach any restrictions to it? No restrictions? Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Your variance is granted. We have about 14 days to prepare the paperwork, and once the paperwork is prepared and delivered to the town clerk, there's a 20-day appeal period. And generally speaking, we would advise people not to start building until the appeal period is over, in case somebody appeals our decision. In this case, your sign's already in, so I don't really have much to tell you about that.
Bob Iafredi's told me to put the sign in so that everyone would know where the lot was. That was a long time ago. It's in temporarily.
I have to say that I do know about that, being in the office. Bob did suggest you put a sign up to help with
Is this-
traffic flow and.
Is this one of the deals where forgiveness is easier to get than permission?
Exactly. And we didn't figure you'd call Wareham and consult with them.
I think you're all set, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Whatever you say for the sign.
Well, 6 minutes, almost good. Let's move on to our second hearing tonight. This is the David and Cameron Marzelli hearing for a special permit. The Lakeville Zoning Board of Appeals, acting in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 40A, as amended, will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, January 16, 2014, at 7:15 p.m. at the Lakeville Public Library, 4 Houston Street, upon the petition of David and Cameron Marzelli for a special permit to demolish an existing non-conforming home and rebuild a single-family home on a non-conforming lot. The property is located at 7 Pine Bluff as provided by the Lakeville bylaws. We have several memos here. I'll start with the building commissioner. This is a memo dated January 9th from Nate Darling. I I've reviewed the petition for a special permit at 7 Pine Bluff. Mr. Marzelli and I have discussed the project at great length and agree it would be in his best interest to have the zoning board of appeals consider this for a special permit. According to Lakeville bylaws, section 613A, changes, extensions, or alterations to pre-existing non-conforming structures on lots zoned residential to 15,000 square feet or more shall be exempt from the special permit requirement, except where the building commissioner determines that the proposed change, extension, or alteration will intensify the nonconformity. I do not feel this project will intensify the nonconformity and would be willing to issue the building permit based on the above-mentioned exception. However, like a building permit denial, a building permit approval may be appealed. A special permit will give Mr. Marzelli peace of mind that he has done everything possible to be in compliance with our zoning bylaw. I have a January 15th memo from the planning board. Please be advised, the planning board meeting held on January 14th, it was unanimously voted to inform the Board of Appeals that the planning board has no concerns pertaining to the above captioned petition dated November 21st, 2013. I have a long email from Larry Perry. I don't think this is binding, but it's still informative. Let me read it aloud. Mr. Perry at the Board of Health had reviewed our petitions for tonight. And he says, 7 Pine Bluff, David Marzelli, the proposed raising and reconstruction of a two-bedroom dwelling, the existing subsurface sewage disposal system at 7 Pine Bluff was inspected on October 31st, 2013, and a passing Title V report was received by the Board of Health on November 6, 2013. The existing septic system was originally designed and installed in 1995 and calculated for a 4-bedroom flow at that time. Since then, the state and local regulations have changed, and it currently would be considered adequate for the existing 2-bedroom dwelling under the new calculations, and because of the non-conforming Title V setbacks to the surface water supply, no increase in flow from the existing 2 bedrooms could be allowed with the current septic system. In addition, the Board of Health received a copy of recent well water analysis demonstrating that the dwelling's water source met the state, federal, and local drinking water requirements at the time of the test, November 2013. The new house could be reconnected to the existing well and septic system with a proposed plan accompanying this petition. Therefore, at this time, I see no public health issues with respect to this petition at this time, provided the new dwelling does not exceed 2 bedrooms and the new footprint does not change from what was present and reviewed on the proposed house reconstruction plan. And you are here to present for the petitioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm David DeVigden. I'm a registered professional engineer in the state of Massachusetts. I work for Schneider & Associates. I'm here representing David and Cameron Marzelli, who are the owners of the property. David is here. David Marzelli is here with us in the audience. On behalf of the Marzellis, we filed a special permit request, a petition, if you will, before the Board of Appeals for this particular property. The property is known as 7 Pine Bluff. The property itself is unique in nature in that it's 32,580 square feet. It's odd-shaped in size, funnels down narrow as you get towards Assawamsett Pond, and it has multiple paper streets, if you will, running through the property. The actual gravel roads are the used roads by the residents further down the development, but there are paper streets running, 2 of them parallel Lake Rim Road and Pine Cleft Way, as well as a short beach street running this direction. The plan was set up so that the left side of the plan you can see the existing conditions, and the right side of the site plan is the proposed conditions. What we're proposing is to rebuild, tear down the house, which was built circa 1920, according to the assessor's records, and build a new home in the same general location. And we have 2 plans so that you can actually see and compare and contrast. The left side shows the existing conditions. Highlighted orange is the existing house. It's L-shaped and it has a screened porch and deck towards the northeast corner of that, of the house itself. Majority of the lot to the southwest is treed, with the exception of the roads running through. And mainly, the entire developed part of the property is adjacent to the pond. Within your packets there should be photographs of the site. Years ago, we permitted for the Marzellis a pretty substantial retaining wall system from the pond. The house sits up at elevation 68, whereas the pond is down at 55, so there's a 13-foot bluff from where you walk out on the yard to where the water is. And what we're proposing to do is tear the house down and hold the southeasterly corner of the house in the same location. That is the closest point to the abutting property, and that setback from the edge of the building to the property line is 17.6 feet. By holding that close point and then running the building parallel with the wall, the Marzellis are proposing to rebuild the house the same exact length that exists running from the pond further towards the road.
Will you reuse the foundation?
No,
So you're gonna tear the old foundation out?
that's correct. The old foundation, you can walk underneath it and access some utilities, but it's not a full cellar complete. It's not proper height, and it is quite old.
And the proposed house will have a full cellar?
Yes, it will. There'll be a walkout basement on the water side. We don't propose to change any of the grade on that, the top of the hill, which is the upper retaining wall. So we're holding, the proposal is to build the house the same exact depth from front to back, and the same exact width from south to north, including the corner from the deck, which is the same. So essentially, they're building the same width and depth, and they're squaring off the L-shaped house into a rectangle.
And the current house is how tall?
It's 2 stories.
I don't have dimension from
But
grade.
it's the 2 bedrooms are on the 2nd floor. And so there are shed roofs, dormers. There's a dormer on one side and a full dormer on the other.
Yes, I think I can see that here in the photograph. And the proposed new house will be how much taller than the old house?
Actually, because it's a walk-in, it'll be a walk-in foundation level basement if you want. And that's where 1 bedroom is, and then the first floor will have the 2nd bedroom. So it doesn't go up 2 stories. You call that a 2-story, a walkout in the first floor.
Well, if I were standing back away from the house, 100 feet, looking at the pond, what would the height elevation to the eye be, the difference between the old house and the new house? How much taller will the new house be than the existing house?
I'm not sure, can you tell from that, David? I'm not sure it would be any taller because you've got the foundation level, which is coming out at that level and coming straight back. Just to talk about the foundation, because you asked that question, there is no foundation there. It's basically 4, posts or rocks on the corners.
Existing.
There's the existing house now, and there's a skirt that goes all around it that gives the appearance of a foundation, but that's not a foundation, that's a styrofoam pebble studded skirt.
The roof line is definitely higher. I do not know what the answer is to that question.
That may not be an issue, but I want to at least get the question on the table.
Fair enough.
The outer boundaries of the new foundation will essentially be the same as the largest dimension of the existing foundation,
That is correct.
both the X and the Y.
That is correct. We're matching the 2 longest dimensions and squaring up the building.
The house, according to what I read, the house sounds like it's about doubling in floor space.
That's in living space, yes.
It's still just 2 bedrooms.
That's correct. street. Currently, the building is 8.8 feet off of the layout, and the proposal is to build the building itself in the same location. Outside of the overhang, it will be in the same location from that road setback as it currently exists. Will be more or less from same distance from the pond as the existing house, because we're holding the line of the house from the pond itself. And there really is no issue to the abutter to the north as far as setback goes. The proposed setback is 24.2 feet, pretty close to what the existing setback is.
You're reducing the setback, was it about a foot or
To-
so?
To the northeast.
On that side of the building?
On this side of the building, no. We're proposing to maintain the same setback for the building itself. We do have a 10-inch overhang, a roof overhang.
Well, let's just talk about the foundation.
Okay.
So it's the same setback from property line to foundation,
That is correct.
and it's the same on the opposite property line?
Well, it's the same for the street setback, and looking at the setback to the opposite abutter, to the north,
About 2/10.
2/10 of a foot, that's correct.
That butter has no problem. Excuse me, I am the butter.
We'll get to that on that site, but hold that thought.
Certainly. My apologies.
Okay. It's just that when you get to be my age, I lose my train of thought, so. Trying to think. My train of thought's gonna derail for a long time. So let's see, we have a two-bedroom house replacing a two-bedroom house. A quick question, on the foundation plan downstairs, there's a utility, there's a room called utility room, I assume that's for water heaters and furnaces and things.
That's correct.
Okay. I hate to say it the way I'm gonna say it, but we always seem to, when people propose new houses that are bigger, we always look for, the rooms that are specified in the plans and are denied, future owner could turn into a bedroom or turn into a nursery, and it's particularly sensitive with a property that's right on the reservoir. So we're gonna look at that.
The existing house as it is. No extra space whatsoever. Kitchen is a galley kitchen combined with an area only large enough for a table, and to get around the table, if you had four sitting there, you have to buy to do that. Small living room. And so what we're proposing is something that we wanted to do for a long time. Be able to have a large enough house, to have our family over for the holidays in particular, and to have friends over.
The existing house was a winterized cottage that was built 100 years ago?
When I purchased the house, I assume that's what it was, yes. I assume it was a cottage, it was winterized and then made into a year-round residence.
We have a lot of that in Lakeville. Do you have anything more to add?
As we stated, it is a two-bedroom. We're proposing a two-bedroom. Septic system did pass Title V.
Right, we have water.
We have water. We are increasing the capabilities of parking on the site by extending the driveway slightly towards the building. That's on the proposed site plan.
Is that, David, is that gravel, the new
Yes,
parking?
everything's gravel out there.
Okay.
Not proposing any pavement. We have gone to the Conservation Commission and obtained an order of conditions.
Now, this is gonna be new construction, which means it has to subscribe to all the new energy efficiency stuff. You're aware of all that?
I'm aware of that, and I've
Which
already talked.
is really good news, if you like a warm, toasty house, but it's expensive.
It is, and I've already made contact with a company in Carver structural engineering when the time is right.
Questions or comments from the board?
Well, let's get to it. I have a couple of concerns on the first floor. Number one, we've got an unheated sunroom that has a gas fireplace. That's not an unheated sunroom.
Actually, it's not unheated. I would agree with that, but that's the way my person who drove it.
That gas fireplace in there. Also, computer room with the half bath off of it. I'm not crazy about either one of those. The computer room can definitely be turned into a bedroom because it has a half bath right off of it. I would suggest taking away that wall that goes into the computer room, open that up completely. And I would suggest rearranging your half bath. Maybe move that closet over, move the half bath up, so that door into the half bath actually comes from the dining area, kitchen, whatever you wanna call it. But if you leave it the way it is, that's gonna be a bedroom.
I think, and I can't speak for the person who drew up the plans for me, I think the issue there was getting that door to come in off the kitchen. And so rather than to try to design it that way, he designed it to come in off the computer room, which doesn't have a door, does not have a closet. So that would be the first floor, you know, visitors, if you will, computer room and so on and so forth. I'm not opposed to changing it around anyway, but that's the way my planner drew it up.
Yeah,
It does look like it'll be a nursery someday. Not for you, but for, you know. That's what it looks like.
I could certainly talk to him about rearranging that. I don't have a
Actually,
problem with
I
that.
think your idea, Dave, of just, we have an arch, a 3-foot archway here opening.
May I come up and?
Sure, of course, yeah. We have a 3-foot archway, maybe if we made that 5 feet, it would be less induced.
Well, what I was thinking was just remove the wall altogether
Take this,
and just leave the space open to the door going down into the basement.
Okay, or, now that you're mentioning that, and I'm looking at that, here's another possibility. This closet here,
yeah.
this is a pantry, and I'm finding with, not talking to the kitchen people, that there's ample storage here, and I've added like a cadenza over here, that I may not need that pantry. I could reduce the size of the pantry to increase the size of the closet, because that's what I need for coats coming in. That would eliminate this closet, and then I could put the door here to come in,
So he wants
and
to.
make that a solid wall.
Redesign this
Right.
somehow.
Right, make this a solid wall, make my door coming in there. I have
I
no
like
problem
that,
with that.
yeah.
So you're recommending rearranging, get rid of the closet, rearrange this bathroom for hallway access. And what were you gonna do here?
Just
Eliminate that?
eliminate that.
Or cut it right back to the,
Well,
Yeah, cut it back to
see,
the,
I've got a sideboard, if you,
oh, I see what you're
an
saying.
8-foot sideboard that goes right here, that gives me all this storage. And that just came about because I was talking to the kitchen people. With all that storage, now I don't need that. I can move that closet large enough for coats and come in that way, so.
you wanna leave this alone and just,
Yeah, because I like to
Well,
back
as
up.
long, yeah, as long as he's eliminating the doorway to the bathroom from this room.
Yeah, I can do that, no problem.
Okay.
Do that, come in through there.
Just talking about what you guys, exactly what you said.
Yeah, well, what he's saying is that he's not gonna be doing this here, so he could move the closet here, eliminate it there, and then
are you, did you do the house plans or just the plot plan?
Just the site plan.
Anything else?
What's on the second floor?
Excuse me?
What's on the second floor? Is it just a?
That is the second floor. The other floor is the foundation.
It's cathedral ceiling.
Ceiling.
Oh, it says right here, start of flat ceiling.
The front portion over the living room is cathedral, it's not actually, it's coffered, is that what it's called?
This is,
Coffered
Yeah.
ceiling?
this is people
Yeah.
showing.
And then the other part is just
Right,
attic
but then,
storage.
See, it's just, yeah, see that?
That's just attic
Okay,
storage.
just attic storage.
So the question is, what's behind that? What's up here?
No, as long as it, you just answered it, it says it's attic storage.
Right.
Who would like to speak for or against this petition? Sir, you had a comment. Moment.
As the abutter on the north side, 27 Twin Oaks Road.
Your name, sir, for the record?
For the record, my name is Jared Twing. And, you know, I've talked to David numerous times on his plans, and I have no opposition.
No opposition.
Dennis Savis, I'm the butter in the backside. I have no opposition to the doing the house at all either. However, as the engineer mentioned, there's some paper roads that exist. Lakeville Road, paper road that we called it, Pinecliffe Way, paper road. Beach Street, which goes all the way to the water, is of equal value in equal existence as Lakeram, Pinecliffe, and Grovewood Street that came in. It was actually designed back in the 1800s when Mr. Taylor split this whole piece of land apart. He needed to access from out on Bedford Street for his daughters that were maintaining properties over there to come down and get to the water. I do have the plans of the recorded plans that were done in Plymouth County. And you can see that Beach Street does exist on every plan that was recorded.
Well, you're all suffering the same problem.
In fact, on every deed mentioned, if you go back into the 18th, early part of the century, you'll see that Beach Street is mentioned as a boundary,
All right.
and each one is boundary. So, my intention is just not to have that blocked off.
Well, it seems from everything they've said that the proposed house would occupy just essentially the same space,
Yep, and
same location.
That would be fine. I'm more concerned with the gravel parking and things like that, so we can eventually still access the lake from.
Can you help me a little bit, Dennis? Can you point to Beach Street on,
You should have it on here, see, it's a paper road, it's not on, this one's Beach Street here.
Well, the layout Beach Street is a very light
Here it is here, okay.
dash line that runs this direction, this way, then this way.
Well, actually, no, it goes all the way down to the water.
Actually, it was distinguished.
May
Distinguished.
may I attempt to answer his question or his opposition?
I don't think it's an opposition, I think we're just trying to clarify.
That's all I wanna do.
Okay,
Just
may I
Yep.
attempt to clarify it?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Because there's updated information that he apparently does not have.
Mhm.
Sure.
Sure. Okay. As you can see by the plan that he showed you, and you can also see on this plan, the dotted line, that Beach Street did go down all the way to the water. And that was the opposition that I ran against in 2008 from the Board of Health. When I started this plan in 2008 and I went to the Board of Health told me that even though a prior board had approved the Title V septic system that was built by the former owner to go in that paper road, that now when I applied in 2008, two wrongs didn't make a right, and therefore I could not go any further without taking care of that septic system. And they suggested two things. I move the system, or I somehow legally extinguish that portion of Beach Street, which I did. I spent since 2008 till now money and time and went to land court. And this document here is why the Board of Health this time around was not in opposition to what I was doing. Because I went to land court and I extinguished that portion of Beach Street from above the septic system down to the water. So it no longer goes to the water. It has legally been extinguished.
Septic system is where, Mr. Marzano? Beach,
right here.
so Beach Street goes to here.
Right. Goes to here, comes down to here, across there, and goes that way. And then you have Beach Street here and here. Not only that, but over 20 years ago,
Yeah.
a barn by another neighbor was built here, portion of Pine Cleft, the paper road. So I would say by that 20 years, that portion has been extinguished. I don't think the paper roads, as you can see them here, are no longer an issue for anyone. All of these lots that were proposed in 1941, 41, can no longer be built because all the homeowners own straight across. This will never be built. And one other additional fact that I became aware of is I own both sides of what now is the smaller portion of Beach Street and Pine Cleft and Lake Rim as it crosses my property, as does the other owners. They own both sides of it. So it's totally within my
It
property.
shows it on the updated.
There's a state law, I believe, that says if I want to move that within my property, I can do that. So if anyone came forward and said, we wanted to build them, and I don't see why they would do it, because you have the travel ways, which are the paper roads as they exist, and these are the gravel roads as they exist. The paper roads have trees, I mean humongous trees. It would be very costly for them to cut it down and construct on these two paper roads. And for what purpose?
Where does this leave you guys?
Basically, the only reason that I had mentioned of this is because Mr. Bob Mello, who lives on the property up here, did a lot of the research, and he still maintains access through Beach Street to the water, through his attorney. So what it does is it increases the value of his property, and of course my property as well. Should I sell down the road, I can say that I have access to the water. So that's why I don't know
So
why,
he believes that's a right of way?
yes, and it's a street. It's not a right-of-way, it's a street.
I
It says right in here,
It sounds, I thought I heard Mr. Marzelli say that the court has decreed that that street no longer exists.
okay,
Here's the judgment.
yeah, that's fine, that'd be the case. Okay.
I'm gonna trust him.
Yeah.
I can,
I know, Mr.
I can concur with Mr. Marzelli. I can attest to the fact that our firm handled the land surveying and the land surveying plans and worked with his attorney to walk it through land court. It did take several years, and this is a land court document. And that's why our plan cuts Beach Street off
Yeah,
right there
okay,
per the land court
It
document.
sounds like Mr. Mello can't get to the water on Beach Street
right,
now.
right, yeah, even, yeah. Okay, that's fine.
Are we all set, Dennis?
Yes, yeah, I'm gonna, you know, concur with Bob, because he spent a lot of money on his attorney as well. He couldn't be here tonight, but he did mention that it did still exist, so. But,
Would anybody else care to speak for or against? Mr. Hawks?
Walter Hawks, we're the abutters to the south, my wife Gail and I, probably the closest impact, and
Why don't you change your name from Clark?
yeah, again, I just figured I'd confuse you.
If you change it back, it will make our minutes better.
Yeah, we're new to town, so I can understand that. Yeah, we have no problem at all with Mr. Marzelli's plans.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any further comments from,
I just would like to make one more comment, Mr. Chairman, if I could. As far as Mr. Save's comment, concern regarding the extension of the gravel driveway, we're not proposing that within Beach Street anyway, just so you know, it's really just an extension of the existing driveway straight towards the house. So far.
so we have a petition for a special permit to allow the construction of this construction on a non-conforming lot, and it sounds like we have a suggestion for a restriction that I would suggest the restrictions restate that it remain a two-bedroom house and that the bathroom, is this the first floor? Or it's actually the second floor, isn't it? The bathroom on the main floor be redesigned so that the entrance is on the hallway rather than the computer room. Would that meet your needs? With the one that brought that up?
Well, one other thing, like to make sure that the door going out to the stated unheated sunroom is either a 8-foot slider or a French door, because it does have that fireplace in there, and that could be used as a source of heat as well. And that could turn into a separate room.
It's gonna be a French door.
Okay.
All right, who would care to make a motion on this? David, you wanna make a motion?
Well, I make a motion, but I didn't write down all the stuff that you said.
Kathy has it.
I make a motion that we approve the special permit for the demolishing and building of a non-family house,
Raise and raise.
raise and raise, with the aforementioned restrictions.
The restriction, is there just one restriction or two? 2-bedroom
Remain a 2-bedroom,
and
which the Board of Health will stipulate anyway, but then also that the access to the
made for
half
value.
bath from the computer room will be done away with, and
And move to the hall.
move to the hall.
Okay with you?
It's fine.
So we have a motion made and a kind of convoluted restriction that we can, I think, wordsmith a bit. Is there a second to this motion?
I'll second it.
Janice has seconded it. Any further discussion on this petition? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. None opposed? Your petition passes. We have, typically take 14 days to do our paperwork, and there's another, once the paperwork is finished and filed with clerk, there's a 20-day appeal period, which means that if I were you, I wouldn't start construction for 34 days until the appeal period's over. You probably won't do anything until spring.
That's good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, do you have any other business tonight? I can sign some notes. Break our minutes. Is this fair to you?
Good luck. Thank you.
What you gotta do now, Dave, is go to Staples and get one of those. Yeah, right.